This is the Coast Guard's 47-foot motor lifeboat, and this thing is a beast. It's used for rescuing people in some of the harshest weather conditions around the United States. It can operate in 20-foot breaking surf and up to 50-knot winds. But one of the most incredible aspects of this boat is if it gets overturned, it can actually flip itself back over.
The boat does a full 360 degrees underwater and pops back up. That ideally takes about 12 seconds.
But more impressive than the boat itself are the men and women who are trained to drive this boat through the surf. They're called surfmen, and they receive their training here at the Coast Guard's National Motor Lifeboat School. The school sits near the dreaded Columbia River Bar, an area so deadly it's known to mariners as the graveyard of the Pacific.
The Columbia River Bar is by far one of the most challenging bodies of water I've faced in my career.
Since 1792, approximately 2,000 ships have sunk in this area. But what makes the Columbia River Bar so dangerous? Strong westerly currents from the Columbia River rush out and collide with the currents from the Pacific Ocean, creating extremely dynamic conditions.
So you have two massive opposing forces hitting each other, to where it's creating an environment that you just really can't create in any other area of responsibility.
9 Coast Guard members from around the nation have come to the school to attend the elite Surfman Course.
The Surfman Course is the culmination of years of a boat driver's career. It can take upwards of 6 years for a person to gain the experience that'll earn them that certification. So what we can offer them here is the opportunity to come and for 4 weeks of their life do nothing but drive in those conditions.
I wanted something with a little more drive and challenge.
They sort of tell you it's the highest qualification you can get as a bosun's mate, and that's what I wanted to do.
There's a little bit more layers than just driving a boat when you're talking about a surfman, especially in the Coast Guard. There's a lot of rich history behind it, a lot of great rescues. Hopefully I get to be part of a rescue someday that makes it down into history and keep bringing credit upon Coast Guard surfmen.
These badges are called Surfman Checks, and they represent every surfman, going all the way back to the U.S. Life-Saving Service. Back in those days, surfmen used boats that looked like this, and wore rain gear and cork life jackets. It's a stark contrast to the more advanced gear worn today.
We all wear 3 layers, a wicking layer, an insulative layer, and then a layer to keep us dry. But the most important things that we can wear are those additional safety items like our life jackets, our pyrotechnics, and things like our helmets and our heavy weather belt.
The heavy weather belt allows the boat crew to stay connected to the boat if it's struck by a breaking wave or even flipped over while operating in areas like this, called a surf zone. These are the treacherous areas where students train.
You're definitely out of your comfort zone all the time.
These conditions are bigger than almost anywhere else, and we got to get out and really get into it.
Surf zones begin forming far off the coast in what are called deep water waves. As the waves approach shore, they interact with the coastline, slowing them down and pushing all the wave's dangerous energy up and forward, until it breaks.
The primary objective of a surfman is actually wave avoidance. However, we know that you're not going to be able to get into a zone and prosecute a mission while completely avoiding every wave in the zone. So we practice and teach our students how to encounter those waves.
While working in a surf zone, surfmen will do what is called squaring up, which means positioning the bow of their boat toward the incoming waves. But in order to move through the zone, the boat crew must move parallel to the surf, which can be a treacherous task. Surfmen view waves like this. You have the peak in the center and 2 shoulders called near side and far side, depending on their distance from the boat. A surfman can either slow down to navigate around the closest shoulder, which allows the wave to pass in front of them, or try to outrun the wave and reach the far side.
When you're running for the far side, you're trying to get to the farthest shoulder of that wave, the furthest area where you know it's not going to break, before it breaks on top of you, which is probably one of the most fun things to do, but also one of the most dangerous because you're never really sure that you're going to get there.
Every student is issued a media package containing a camera and editing software.
What that allows us to do is provide immediate feedback on the boats, but also go back and analyze mistakes or good things that were done on the boat that day and really point out how they can change or improve upon their performance.
Well, in this video, we made the decision to run for a far shoulder, and it wasn't the right call. There wasn't enough time for us to outrun that wave, and we ended up going with the wave a little bit, but that's all part of it. Not every read is going to be a perfect read, and you have to be able to move from that and make the corrective actions.
The students trained all the way up until the day of graduation, and it was on that final day that something crazy happened.
Mayday, mayday. Ship's gonna sink, yo. The compass isn't working.
The boat crews were notified of a potential mariner in distress near their location.
I think I might be taking on water.
It was decided that we were going to go investigate, see what was going on. It started with 14 to 16 foot swell, sort of amped up to 18 to 20 foot with breaks.
We were able to get on scene and figure out that there was one person on board who did not have a life jacket. One of the school boats was able to get a life jacket over to the person on board the boat. The helo decided to send a rescue swimmer down, and luckily it was just in time.
Swimmer hopped in the water and helped get them onto the helo after the boat had rolled, and all in all, it was a pretty amazing experience. That's one heck of a graduation.
Yeah, there was no better way really to end this surf class. It was a pretty spectacular way to have everything kind of culminate and cap off an unbelievable 4 weeks.
It's 3 years of hard work that's been acknowledged, and here we are with a certificate to prove it now.
I can teach anyone how to drive in the surf. Like, it's just a matter of throttle maneuvers, helm movement, and having an understanding of bathymetry and oceanography. But to really get to that level to where you're getting someone that wants to push themselves into the most challenging conditions, that's going to stem from within. That's not something that I think any instructor, any schoolhouse could really teach, but I think that drive itself is what makes the surfman what it is today.